We'll now note two basic differences between the human intellect and prophecy. We will first illustrate this with an allegory that was proposed by the Ramak. It is the story of four friends who know each other very well. One day the other three see their friend Reuben from far away. Simeon says, "We know that Reuben is healthy and strong. If he is walking so bent over, the sack that he is carrying must have very heavy stones in it." And Levi replies, "I agree with my friend Simeon. The sack must indeed have something very heavy in it, but if it was only stones, Reuben would not be using such an ornate sack. I assume that it is filled with diamonds." And then Judah gives his opinion. "If the two of you were right, Reuben would not be accompanied by so many armed guards, who are worth much more than a sack of diamonds. Evidently he is carrying something important that is very heavy and more valuable than diamonds. Perhaps it is platinum." Every one of the intellectual analysts gets closer and closer to the truth, but there still remains a large gap between the conclusions of the intellectuals, or the philosophers, and the one who put the load into the sack, that is, Reuben. What lesson can we learn from this allegory? All the studies that have taken place throughout human history, whether through the senses, the emotions, and the imagination, or through the intellect, cannot achieve a deep understanding of the owner of the sack. They can't understand the spiritual way in which the world operates. Only the master of the universe can reveal what burden he actually put into the sack. From the time it came into existence, the nation of Israel has claimed that it has the secret of direct contact with He who by His command created the world. As opposed to all of the other philosophical or mythological approaches, we are the ones who really hold the key to the truth. We can therefore conclude that there are two main differences between prophecy and philosophy, as indicated in the following table. Qualitative factor number 1, philosophy. Philosophy acts in the dark, looking for the truth. All the tools of understanding by humanity, the senses, imagination, and intellect, are not able to lead to absolute truth like prophecy. Whereas prophecy understands absolute and complete truth based on external revelation of the Creator Himself. Qualitative factor number 2, philosophy asks questions and answers them within a closed world. The philosopher both asks the questions and gives his own replies as he sees fit. It's a closed world with a pessimistic ending. Whereas prophecy receives external support from the other, the Creator, just as it is impossible to exit a swamp without outside help. It's an open world with an optimistic finale. To understand more deeply the qualitative factor number 2, philosophy's pessimistic view of the world, we see through Greek mythology and later on in the stories of the Grimm brothers that they usually end badly. Whereas today, stories and movies are more likely to have happy endings. We have even edited the children's stories, such as the Grimm brothers, to end happily. We can note that this is connected to the return of the people of Israel to their land, and the growth that the optimistic prophets promised as the nation of Israel saw it all the time. We see Freud, the 19th century, and his outlook and method of digging into the past to explain human complexities of today. On the other hand, we read about Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust camp survivor who optimistically viewed the world despite his real and horrific experiences. He, in fact, planted the foundations for today's positive psychology, albeit amidst the horrors of World War II. It's interesting to note that all these uplifting changes are related to the prophecies that the nation of Israel will eventually return to its land. This brings a smile of optimism to the entire world. This table also illustrates the differences between the era of prophecy and the era when prophecy has disappeared from the world. We are indeed fortunate that the nation of Israel has preserved the traditions of prophecy. In this lecture, we have tried to provide a taste of this phenomenon.